And as we are in a state building, we are following the disruption and gas. And we're all kind of comfortable with that at this point in our life. However, as we participate today, I will grant permission to the speakers to remove the masks when they speak. When the speakers do come forward, I know people are very often uncomfortable standing here at the bench where the council table, where usually the lawyers are facing the court. But today, this is a special day, and we want to make sure that everyone who's gathered here today can hear these wonderful words here. So you have my permission, turn your back on me, and to it. This is the ceremonial court of the Supreme Court. The court sits usually in Springfield, in the building down there. Here in Chicago, as I say, this is the ceremonial. In both of the courtrooms, both in Springfield and here, are words printed on the back wall. In Latin. Maybe some of you did too, but if you think about it, it's probably easy to translate it. Audi alterum partem. What it means generally is, hear the other side. Remembering that this is what the judges are looking at. This is a message to the people that the role of the judge is to hear both sides. So today we're excited to bring in a new addition to the bench who embraces those kinds of things. To guide us today through our program, our judge has asked to act Caroline, so I'll introduce Judge Angela.
Thank you, Justice Tice. Thank you for permission. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. As Justice Tice said, my name is Ashna Hansen, and I am honored to be here today to MC Araceli's investiture. On behalf of Araceli, I would like to welcome all the elected officials in the room today and my esteemed colleagues of the judiciary. So welcome and thank you for being here. And Justice Tice, I had a moment in back that I do want to say in front of everybody, and I think everybody here would agree with me. Thank you so much for making it possible for all of us to be here today at the pinnacle of Araceli's career. So thank you. Sally and I have known each other for over 20 years. We first met when we were both working for the Cook County State's Attorney's Office under Dick Devine. And we have maintained our friendship through all these years. Sorry, I just dated everybody the years. Through all of life's ups and downs, and I would certainly say it's getting off today. Sally, I am so proud of everything you have accomplished. And I am so overjoyed to be standing here today to watch you become part of the judiciary and work with me again. It's something that you have tirelessly worked for to achieve. I realize that you aren't I can say for myself, and I'm sure everybody here in this room has the same sentiment, that we will be with you every step of the way to get you across that finish. As Araceli and I were discussing today, she reminded me that a year ago today, our country experienced a siege on our capital. Just 2 weeks before the inauguration of a new president, blood was shed on our Capitol steps, and 5 people died. We would like to take a moment of silence to recognize the senseless loss of life and to remember that the Capitol is symbolic of our nation's democracy. Thank you. I just mentioned democracy. The foundation of our nation to which people, and in particular women, like Sally, like me, would not otherwise have the opportunity to don a black robe and pursue justice. So today, we celebrate Araceli, someone who represents the diversity of Cook County, who will show up and work hard day in and day out, who has the integrity necessary to be a judge, and who I look forward to calling my colleague on the bench. So at this time, I would like to invite Justice Jesse Reyes of the Illinois Appellate Court to say a few words. Justice Reyes.
Court. I want to give you permission to use my pen. Thank you for the introduction. It's indeed a pleasure and a privilege for me to be among so many distinguished jurists, public officials, illustrious legislators, community leaders, members of the bar, and a proud family members as we gather here to mark the investiture of Araceli Cruz as a judge in the Circuit Court of Cook County. In particular, I would also like to recognize today's other speakers, the Honorable Tony Clifford, President of the Cook County Board of Commissioners, and the Honorable Iris Martinez, Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, and last but definitely not least, Ms. Ava Dela Cruz and Mr. Marcelino Dela Cruz, who will be representing the family. Before I proceed any further, I would be remiss if I could take the opportunity to acknowledge ourselves parents, Carmen and Jose, for establishing the foundation for which this young public servant built a remarkable career of service, and also for providing her with the moral compass that has guided her even through the most trying of times. And as the saying goes, the apple definitely did not fall far from the tree. I would also like to thank her family, husband, and her children, because without their sacrifice and support, our son would not be able to do what she does in church to serve others. Without your commitments to service, today may not have been possible. I had the great privilege of knowing Ms. Cruz for a number of years. And I've also experienced a trust with her commitment to justice and to her willingness to ensure that justice is done. Even when she was not asked to do so, she would step up and answer the call. And I say this from experience. When Ms. Dela Cruz was assigned to my courtroom when I was a trial judge, I knew that she was going to be a proponent for serving justice and that this day would come. In my humble opinion, Araceli represents the best that our legal profession has to offer. Her experience, her life work, her commitment to our system of justice are without question. But you don't have to take my word for it. To this day, her former colleagues at the State's Attorney's Office still speak very highly of her skills and abilities. Her subsequent employers after the State's Attorney's Office at CTA and Several schools thought so highly of her that they placed her in prominent positions of responsibility in both agencies to oversee not only policies and procedures, but the employees that serve the public. And seeking to become a judge, she was vetted and unanimously approved by Justice Tice's committee. And not only once, but twice, unanimously was voted by the Cook County Democratic Party to be recommended to voters for the Circuit Court of Cook County. So I believe she has, without doubt, earned this opportunity to serve the people of Cook County as Circuit Court judge. Today is a special occasion for many reasons. The most important reason is the occasion matters most of all to all of us, because she is superbly gifted and skilled advocate and has decided to answer the call when she could have done otherwise, to don the black robe and become a member of the Supreme Court of Cook County. Through this appointment, the legal profession has lost in esteem and respected living. Justice Tyson and Norris report by selecting Araceli Cruz have taken a step further towards uniting us all as one whole community. Unlike many, Araceli Cruz will never forget where she came from. She will always continue giving back to the community, to serving the community. She will be a jurist who will serve the public on and off the bench. She will also always serve as an inspiration to our next generation of persistence and a message that you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish, just work for it. Today, as we mark the beginning of our son's tenure on the bench, I'm certain the service of the Circuit Court will be defined by the same standards of excellence, the same devotion to duty, the same pursuit of justice, and the same sense of honor and integrity that has characterized her time as an attorney and as an advocate, which have been the hallmark of her entire career to date. As a jurist, I'm sure that in every case, and in every instance, and in every endeavor, she will do what is necessary and what is right. Justice Sandra Day O'Connor described the judge's task in words that are very simple, but yet direct and to the point. Quote, be independent, be fair, venture to be wise. Araceli, I commend those words to you for your consideration when you serve the public as a judge of the Supreme Court of Cook County. Lastly, keep in mind that there are two sides. It's just as Tice reminded everybody, we want to hear both sides. Just as Werner Haneke put it best when he said, the spirit of liberty strives for community when the least should be heard and considered side by side with the greatest. That is your task, that is your responsibility, and I know you will fulfill it to your utmost. And again, I want to thank Justice Tice and the Illinois Supreme Court for appointing Ms. Dela Cruz to the Circuit Court of Cook County. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Reyes. Everybody, please help me welcome the Honorable Tony Cartwinkle, President of Cook County Board and Chair of the Democratic Party.
Thank you, Justice Tice. I want to be sure that I acknowledge the presence of Chief Judge Evans here as well. We're very grateful that he could join us. And of course, Justice Reyes, thank you. Clerk Martinez. This is an important day in our country's history. You know, a year ago, we were reminded of how fragile our democracy is. And that surely was sobering. We have a tripartite democracy, a judicial, legislative, and executive branches at all levels. And so as a member of the executive branch, it's a particular honor to be here to celebrate the installation of someone in the judicial branch. The Cook County Democratic Party overwhelmingly decided to support Araceli Dela Cruz last time, 2 years ago. And when she was not successful, I called her up shortly thereafter and told her that I hoped she would run again, because I thought she was a great candidate and deserved to be on the bench. So it's great to be here today to see her about to be installed on the bench. You know, we have a very diverse county. Third largest county in the country. Well, second largest is New York. Every borough in New York is a separate county. Second largest after Los Angeles, but one of the largest counties in the country. And it's a county in which the majority of people are people of color. Latino community, African American community, the Asian American community comprise more than half of our county.
And it's very important that our bench reflect the diversity of our county. So I'm very grateful to Justice Tice for adding a member of the Latino community to the bench today, and a smart and talented young woman who I'm sure will serve our community well. Congratulations.
Pastor Practical, and I would like to invite the Honorable Iris Martinez, Clerk of the Circuit Court.
Thank you. Guys, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So nice to see so many family and friends here for the swearing in of such a remarkable ceremony of our newest Latina judge, Araceli de la Cruz. I want to start by thanking Supreme Court Justice Mary Jane Tice for conferring this honor upon Araceli. For in doing so, you have conferred this honor on all of us. We, the members of the Latino community, know that you get pulled in all different directions from different contingency groups. So when we are so honored by you, we are also very grateful. We don't take any of this lightly. We don't take any of it for granted. We are humbled by the fact that you chose one of ours to fill the judicial vacancy, and we will work hard to carry her across the finish line. You should know that she has already been slated for the countywide vacancy by the Cook County Democratic Party. Thank you so much for that. The leadership in our city's community will work hard to honor this appointment by electing her this coming June 28th. And now I will turn our remarks to our guest of honor, Araceli. You have made your family and your community so proud. El orgullo. You'll be a shining reflection of the best that the Latino community has to offer. We look forward to having you donate the ropes of truth, justice, and fairness. We look forward to you bringing down the gap over righteousness decisions. We look forward to your judgments, knowing that they will be issued without prejudice or partiality. In conclusion, let us look upon this joyous occasion in gratitude towards Supreme Court Justice Tice and to what we will be another crowning achievement for Chicago's Latino community and the appointment of Araceli de la Cruz as judge of the Circuit Court of Cook County. Felicidades.
Thank you, Clerk Martinez. As I was listening to everybody, we're all here because in many different ways we've helped Araceli get here. But I want to say thank you to everybody for helping her get here, for getting her slated, for appointing her, and so I would like to welcome two very important people in Araceli's life. Ava and Martha.
As you know already, we're Ava and Martha. We've always known that our mom was inspirational, and now we want to share what we've learned from her.
Our mother has always been strong and hardworking. She's someone we can look up to, who sets an example of who we would both relate to.
Back in 2019, when our mom became she needed a position. She went to so many events every evening from home. She had a lot of support and a lot of people aware of the house. So she was still the leader of the pack, and she was driven, even though it wasn't really. She didn't attend these events solely for signatures. She was obviously there to gain diverse experiences, interact with communities, and immerse herself in a variety of gatherings and celebrations. That movement and effort was visibly and mentally taxing, but it was also incredibly powerful.
From living with her mother for 13 and 16 years, we can confidently say that our mom is more than qualified to be a judge. For one, she is a master of multitasking. She loves to make to-do lists, and when I sometimes look I ask myself, how does she do it all? And when our mom is determined to do something, you better beware because she gives everything she has to achieve her goal, no matter how difficult the task may seem. We saw her campaign ferociously, work endlessly, and even when the outcomes weren't as planned, she never gave up. Despite all that work, our mom still finds time to be understanding and listen to any problems we may have, or just hear about our day. I'd like to think that her actions rub off on us, and we are so grateful for that. She really does make us a better person.
We watched all of this hard work of Cruz pay off before us. The happiness and pride that radiated off of her when she shared with us that she would that we will ever forget. It demonstrated that hard work really truly does pay off, and that we're going to always be proud of her. We love her mom so much. She's one of our greatest mom.
We're so proud of you, Mom.
I think they're a hard act to follow.
Well, welcome all, as I said, this is delightful. Beautiful. So this is a happy day for all, certainly a culmination of hard work by Araceli, and we certainly do also have to recognize her family for their support and bringing her to this day. I do think it's important to recognize her community who brought her to this day as well. We talked for a long time about diversity. And I think what we meant by that for a very long time is that we have been trying to encourage those who have been excluded to come in, to join bench, join discussion. I also like to think that we've matured from just that idea of county heads. I like to think that we've come to understand that the differences among us is what enrich our life, enrich our communities, enrich the administration of justice. So I'd like to think more about diversity in the sense of inclusion and equality. It's certainly an important moment in this time when we reach out and try to find ways to expand the people who join us in these pursuits. That at this moment, it feels like we're not just bringing people into the system. We're asking people to step up to leadership. Now is the time to have voices that have not been heard, not only be included, but to lead. And so today, this is a very important moment that someone who has been involved in her own community now has found her voice to lead. But let me talk to you for a minute for yourself, because let me suggest to you that becoming a judge is more than just taking an oath. In a moment, you're going to raise your hand and say some really powerful words. But it seems to me that it's really more of a process. It's a time of reflection as to what this new role in your life means. It's more than just sitting up higher than everybody else, wearing a black robe. You've been a wonderful lawyer, we know that, that's why you're here. But your role as a judge is very, very different. And becoming a good judge starts today. And in some way, that process continues through your entire judicial career. Your life is about to change in some very significant ways. And one of them is that you are joining an independent, co-equal branch of government. Most people have contact with the governor or with legislators or the members of the Supreme Court. However, the places where you are going to be working, the family court, the traffic court, and criminal courts, that's where most people have contact with the court system and with government. You are the face of the judiciary. It's an amazing responsibility you have, especially as a new judge. These are times where we know that trust in many institutions, it's very low, and specifically, that trust in our court system is very low. And that's important. That's not just a random idea. It has significance. Over the past 20 years or so, researchers have been studying the question of why do people obey laws? Why do they follow orders at all? Why do they conform? And as the studies have taken place, and the National Center for State Courts just did the same kind of study just a few years ago, the answer always comes back the same. People are willing to accept what happens to them in court, win or lose, in direct relationship to whether or not they believe they've been treated fairly. It's Friday when you see these studies. It's not whether you're going to lose. It's how do you feel you've been treated in a courtroom is the strongest indicator of whether someone is going to obey the law. It's a really powerful idea. And it's a real challenge for a judge to think about. So it's not just the ruling you make. It's whether you convince the people in your case, in the case, that you have heard them, you've heard their voices, you've treated them fairly. We call this idea of procedural fairness. You're going to hear that word a lot. As judges, we talk about that a lot. How do we communicate to people their value when they come? So we meet in the middle of the pandemic, and we've all been talking about the challenge it is for all of us. I heard yourself is under the weather over Christmas. Everybody's feeling better now. In my family, we didn't have Christmas at all. Literally, of my 12 members of my family, 6 were sick. And on Sunday, we're going to have Christmas because we didn't plan. We're lucky that we can at least be in this week. But probably for most of us, what our lives have been Zoom. Just those pictures on a screen. So in today's world, where that's how court is heard, and I think we will continue, because there's some good things about it. We'll continue to use that kind of medium moving forward, even after we move beyond this pandemic. The challenge for the judge is how do you communicate people in those boxes on the screen? They have been valued. They have been heard. They've been treated fairly. It's a new set of skills that judges have to learn. Well, there are a lot of challenges that you have, and a lot of things to learn. One of the things that I know you've told me you already know is that there's a great deal of judicial education that goes on in the state. And for example, there are a series of bench books to help judges learn basic rules that they're going to need in court. And so I know the presiding judge traffic court who I sent to you the traffic bench book. There's a hint about where you may be. And the purpose of that book is to give you some real basic understanding of traffic law. No matter what kind of lawyer, that's most of us really don't know. That's what those bench books are there to help you do. But there's bigger ideas of how you become a good judge. Take more time and more thought and more support. And so you'll find very soon you'll be contacted by the Illinois Judicial College, where you will participate in a new judge orientation process. In the past, we did that at a big conference, every new judge in the state of Illinois. Today, the way the new judge training has evolved, especially during this pandemic, that you'll be paired with a total of 8 other new judges from across the state and 2 senior judges. And over the next year, you'll have an opportunity to learn and to learn from each other, from the other new judges, some skills that you didn't have before. Because being a judge is so different from being a lawyer. One of the big challenges that judges have today is the fact that a huge percentage of civil cases, people are unrepresented. Self-represented litigants come to our courts long, afraid. They don't even speak our language in terms of the law, and many of them don't speak English. To deal with people who are not represented. to treat them, how to allow them to have their voices heard. So certainly that's an important part of judicial training. Another important part of judicial training is thinking about how to interrupt implicit bias. It's a given. It works. We're human beings. The biases that we aren't even aware of, that's what implicit bias means. We don't even aware. So when you take it all today to be fair, there are things that you might not even be aware of about yourself that might interrupt it. So how, as a judge, do you deal with that? And I think what we learn is the Illinois judiciary is working very hard to think about ways to interrupt our natural implicit bias so that it does not affect the decision-making process. There are a lot of techniques that we've learned from other states and from other academic groups. We have a wonderful program working with the Art Institute of Chicago, Stellar Museum, the Chicago History Museum, trying to find ways to expose judges to ways to open their eyes, and learn more about themselves, so that they can be there, be present, and be fair with the people who come to court. And you'll learn things about contempt hearings and ruling on objections and managing juries, kinds of things that as a lawyer you have the opportunity to do. But being a judge is more than just legal competence. If you are unfamiliar with the Code of Judicial Conduct, I suggest now is the time to check it out. The rules set out incredibly high standards for judges. They're very basic. Supreme Court Rule 63 says this: the judge should be faithful to the law, unswayed by partisan interests, public clamor, or fear of criticism. The judge should be patient, dignified. The judge should perform judicial duties without bias or prejudice. The judge should accord to every person the right to be heard. That's what we ask our judges to do, to be. Those are the standards, they're ethical standards the judge must embrace. As a judge, you will have to make difficult, sometimes unpopular decisions. Let me suggest to you that our commitment to the highest standards of judicial ethics is what allows you to make those hard decisions. Judicial ethics and judicial independence are just either side of the same. Supreme Court Rule 62 sums up our ethical obligation. A judge must conduct him or herself in a manner at all times, not around lunch, that promotes public confidence in the integrity of the judiciary. That's the ultimate ethical question. Will it enhance or impair the public's trust and confidence? I've only known you a little bit. I know of your past work. I know of how so many people think so highly of you. I believe that you're the kind of person who can enhance the public's trust and confidence in the integrity of the judiciary. If you're ready to take on that role, then I'm going to ask you to come forward with your family and take. Sometimes I make a joke at this point. Here's my joke. When you first put out a book, it's tricky business. It's a different deal. And often, soon-to-be judges kind of struggle with it. And they tell the story about one time a wonderful judge, but on her first day, she was struggling with the robe. She sit up and she forgot to take the tag off. Well, I told this story before, but apparently I was understood it because she told me she's been practicing. Miracle, will you right hand? Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Araceli Dela Cruz,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Circuit Judge
of Circuit Judge
for the Cook Judicial Circuit
for the Cook Judicial Circuit
of the State of Illinois
of the State of Illinois
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Good afternoon, everyone. Afternoon to everyone here and also to those who are with us virtually. I want to start from a place of gratitude. So I will begin by thanking those that made today a reality. Justice Tice and the rest of the Illinois Supreme Court, thank you for your confidence in me. Thank you for choosing me and for allowing me this opportunity. I absolutely promise to serve with integrity, grace, and fairness each and every day. Thank you to the wonderful speakers, Justice Reyes, Madam President, Madam Clerk, and my beloved Ava Marcelino. I am honored and humbled by your words and your sentiments. Thank you. Thank you to my friend and mentor, Judge Hanson, for leading us through today's program and for your constant support and engagement. Encouragement. Thank you to all the elected officials here today and those committee persons who championed my endorsements by the Cook County Democratic Party. I am very grateful for your support. And to all the judges who will be my new colleagues, beginning with my new boss, presiding judge, Marcelino. I'm excited to work with you and learn from you. But the gratitude I feel today, which knows no bounds and burns deepest inside of me, is for my family. Who I am and everything I've accomplished is because two selfless people built a life where they put their children first before anything. They worked so hard for so many years. They made sacrifices, they sought out educational opportunities, and they pushed boundaries for us. They did everything they could to give us a safe and loving home, stability to keep us grounded, and security to nurture our confidence. In all of my endeavors and pursuits, they were always right there to cheer me on. Nothing ever truly seemed impossible. Mom and Dad, I appreciate you more than you can ever imagine, and I love you so very much. My sister Monica and my brother Andrew were my first friends, and they are my truest friends. They are my confidants and my protectors. And just like our parents, they have always been there to cheer me on, and I savor each of their joys and their accomplishments. If you know my family, you know that we are not perfect, but we are fierce, loyal, and rooted in traditions. I couldn't ask for a better foundation. I'm grateful for my husband, Ron, who makes dreams come to life. Our home, our children, and my ambitions. His strong, calm energy keeps me grounded when I take on too much, and always reminds me of what matters most.
Ava Marcelino. You two are simply just my greatest gifts. And every single thing I do is for the both of you. You are not only my why, but my how. Our journey together is the adventure of my life. I cherish the years that have already passed. I am in awe of you today. And I can't wait to see what your futures hold. And to the rest of my family and my friends, thank you all for the ways in which you bring joy, laughter, and light into my life. And to my colleagues who have helped me grow professionally over the past 20 years and have become friends, thank you for being troopers in the trenches with me. I am so excited to start this next chapter, but it's not just a new job. It's an opportunity to impact lives. It is a privilege to be entrusted to make sound and fair decisions. And it is an honor to cultivate and promote trust in our judicial system. My intention is to be fully open to all who come before me, to be kind and patient, to recognize what it means for each and every person who finds himself in a court of law, to remain mindful that my everyday experience will most likely be their once-in-a-lifetime experience, to rely on my integrity, to be bold and courageous with empathy and humility, to see and recognize the experiences and voices of the many diverse communities I know and love. And while all that sounds easy, much of it can be difficult at times, to be honest. But I have been mentored, nurtured, and challenged by many of you with me today. And so I take a piece of every person and every experience with me into this chapter. I also want to recognize that I am stepping into this role at a historical time. This pandemic has shifted everyone's life to some degree. For some, the shift may be just a slight slant. For others, it has turned their whole world upside down. This pandemic has demanded innovation, resilience, and has created new normals in old spaces. I know that I must keep this perspective to be a true servant of all people. Tomorrow is my first full day as Judge Cruz. I'm getting used to. And not only will I work hard in all the ways I just mentioned, but I will also be working ever so hard to keep this seat. Today is an absolute dream come true, and I will leave no stone unturned in my pursuit to make it an enduring reality. But I cannot do it alone, and so I hope to have your continued support in the months to come. Thank you again to the court, thank you to my family, thank you to my friends, thank you to everyone here today. And of course, I can't end without saying, Feliz Dia de Las Vegas.
That was wonderful. That's a pretty wonderful way to start. Yes, Araceli told me she chose today specifically to have this celebration day. With that, we are adjourned. Ms. Marshall?
Everyone, please rise. This court stands adjourned.
Thanks.